Welcome back to another episode of Dating Dilemmas. I'm Lamont White, the gay dating coach. Listen, I hope you all have been, and I need to stop saying listening. I feel so country when I say that. I'll say hello. I have been doing these episodes about dating dilemmas for the past few weeks. Let me know what you all think about them. Are they helpful? Or do you want me to go back to doing Shoot Your Shot Wednesdays and say, Lamont, forget about this? I always appreciate input. All right. But today, I'm going to keep pushing and we're going to talk about dating dilemmas. And I do want to talk about a topic that I think is really important in the gay community. And I want to get you all's input on it. So today's episode is really talking about daddy issues or dating goals. I really want to talk about like the truth about older gay men who date younger gay men and vice versa. Like really, what is that all about? I want to talk about like the dynamics. Do you feel like it's about control or is it about true authenticity, authentic connections? Do you think older men seek younger men, or do you think younger men are always on a hunt for an older guy for some reason? Do you think it's more about mentorship, or is it about manipulation? Is there like, when you talk about sex, communication, expectation, are those issues really impacted by the generational gap? I really want to dive into it. So as we have this conversation today, I want you all to share your experiences in the comment section. Is that okay? Yes, yes. All right, perfect. And don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video so that YouTube's algorithm keeps pushing out content like this. I appreciate it. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on one of my guests who I've known probably for a little bit over a year. And his name is Darren Maine. He is from Berkeley, California. He is the CEO, founder, and doing amazing work with Q Mind Body, which is an amazing podcast that I think I'll be on an episode coming up soon. So let's welcome Darren to the stage and give him a round of applause.
Hey there. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Darren. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic.
Okay. Listen, I'm loving the background, the energy. Sometimes when I have guests, they don't know how to pull it together, but you're doing an awesome job with it.
Well, thank you. You don't want to see what's on the other side of the camera, though.
Is it a wreck?
I can see dirty dishes out there in my kitchen in the distance.
Hopefully,
And
somebody will
my
come
name.
clean those up soon. Hopefully, somebody will clean it up for you. Well, I'm happy you came to have a conversation with me. Can you tell folks a little bit about, who you are, like personally and professional? Give us some, context so people get a good feel about who you are.
Sure. Well, like professionally, it's probably a little easier to start with. I teach yoga. I'm a
Mhm,
massage therapist,
mhm,
and I write books, and I podcast, and I do
mhm,
coaching.
mhm,
And I've been doing it for years and years and years with I work with everyone, but
mhm,
I've been working a lot with gay men for many years, like back during the AIDS crisis, where before there were effective treatments, offering yoga and massage as a way to sort of help people keep their cortisol levels low and their immune system as healthy and strong as it could be. And then transitioning into other aspects of gay wellness as time went on.
mhm,
And I'm also a dad. I am a single dad by choice. I adopted my son.
mhm.
And now I'm an aging gay man, evidently. That's what I've
Well,
been told. I don't feel
you
it,
and me
but
both. You and me both. Yeah.
so yeah, I feel like I'm living a really great life.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Okay.
I do what I love, and I'm a dad, and yeah.
Okay. So how old are you, Darren? Let people know. Sometimes they say you can't ask someone their age, but we're talking about age differences in dating. So we want to set the record straight.
I am 54.
Okay.
And yeah, it's interesting aging. I mean, our society in general and the queer community specifically
Mhm.
tells us a lot about what it means to get older. And for me, I feel like every decade is better than the one before it.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
sort of trade in things.
Mhm.
I traded in my twink body for a middle-aged body, and now I don't know if I'm to senior level yet, but AARP accepted me, so there's that.
We call that the dad bod.
Yeah. Um,
Okay. So tell us
and,
a little bit about your dating experience. Like, are you single? Are you dating? How has it been dating for you, let's say within the last 10 years?
I am single-ish. I recently started seeing someone. It's new, and he's
Mhm.
really nice, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
Um, but it's very new, and we're still open and uh, doing whatever it is we're doing.
Getting to
But
know each other. Yeah.
yeah, he's a good guy. I'm glad he's in my life one way or another.
Mhm.
Yeah, my dating experience I think is not dissimilar to other gay men in that I think the hookup thing is really easy
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
us. We have many avenues to check that box, but finding intimacy and connection, especially being a dad, has been tricky.
Mhm.
And not always, sometimes people say it's hard to find someone out there, but a lot of times it's my own stuff that I have to wrestle with. So it's not always everybody else's issues. A lot of times
Mhm.
it's my own, and just living a busy life as a gay man is tricky. And but it's also interesting how it's changed over the decades.
Mhm.
What used to be more focused on the sex part of being a gay man as I've
Mhm.
gotten older, I feel like I've mellowed a little bit more. I'm
Mhm.
still very interested in being an active gay man, but just in a more, I'd say, balanced way, which opens up other avenues in terms of dating.
Mhm. Yeah, I've definitely heard that. Like, the older you get, sex is definitely important, but it's less of a priority. It's more about companionship, about connection, building a life together, and building a family. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
I completely agree. I
Mhm.
think for me, it's more about it shifted somewhere like in my 40s from quantity, like
Mhm.
how much can I get and how many partners and how many kinky
Mhm.
games can I explore and
Mhm.
sexploration, to something that was more quality. Like I want to experience something deep and meaningful and intimate and
Mhm.
connected that leaves us both uplifted, not being like, okay, you got to go now.
Your Uber's here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk more about
You're
like
nice. You call them an Uber.
you have to be a gentleman. You can't just like.
You were a gentleman.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about like your experience with dating guys who are younger. Like, do you feel like guys, like, what is your experience? Yeah, I'll let you tell us. Like, what's your experience with dating
Yeah.
guys who are younger?
Yeah. Well, the whole question, top, bottom, versatile. Always tell people I'm versatile in every sense of the word.
Hmm. Hmm.
In the sense, not just in terms of position, but in the types of men I'm attracted to.
Hmm.
Younger, older,
Hmm.
my age, racially, like
Hmm.
there's beauty everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, uh, People who are very different than me, people who are very similar to me, different body types. I
Hmm.
just find sexy and attractive in so many different packages. But I think with younger guys, there's something, they have a bounce in their step and an excitement for life, and I really like that energy. It doesn't always work. It depends on, I think, what we're doing together,
Hmm.
because I'm at a place in my life where I've got a kid and I want to be in bed by 10.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have zero interest in going out dancing and clubbing and all of that. But
Yeah.
but there's something really beautiful about that age gap. And at
Mhm.
the same time, there's sort of this creepy kink thing that can come in, that I think when I was younger, I'm more interested in older guys. It worked for me.
Hmm.
Now it feels a little like I don't want to be your daddy. I want to be your friend. I want to be your partner. I want to be your companion.
Hmm. Hmm.
I already have a kid. Man, that's probably part of it too.
Yeah,
I
it
can
makes it a
only
little more
afford so many
uncomfortable
Happy
because
Meals.
you're already raising someone. You don't want to raise a partner as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, yeah. But I heard you
yeah.
say that like you like the energy of guys who are younger, and a little bit of does it feel like a kink to you, or does it you feel like you're the actually kink for them?
I think at this point in my life, more for them. And I
Okay.
know that sounds weird because like I'm an older guy and
Mhm.
some beautiful young man
Mhm.
flirts with me or hits on me or something, and it's like, wow.
Mhm.
I thought I'd turn 40 and just be put out to pasture,
Mhm.
and it seems like a lot of younger guys are really into the older guy. I mean, I have guys on Scruff are like, "Hey, daddy," and I'm like, "I'm a literal daddy." Like, literally, I
Turn
have a
off.
kid. I've changed diapers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that can, I think it feels. I can find a younger guy sexy and attractive, but
Mhm.
it doesn't. It's not because he's younger. That power dynamic piece doesn't really appeal to me, and I think some of that's because I am a dad. Like it's like I check that box
Mhm.
in the more traditional sense.
Right. So you don't
um,
want to have to. You don't need to fulfill that with a partner.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I live in a college town, Berkeley, California, and I cannot tell you how many guys that are like 18, 19, 20 that are hitting me up. I'm like, you are literally 5 years older than my son. Like,
Whew. No. No. No.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah, so your location probably influences that as well. Like if you're in a college town, it seems like there are a lot of guys who are younger, and for them, I could assume that there'd be a number of reasons why they would want to, reach out to you, whether it's for financial stability, because, or just like for mentorship, or just working out some of their daddy issues. Like you're in an area where you might get a mix of any and everybody.
Yeah. I had a guy reach out to me once, and he was clearly looking for some money, and he was like,
Hmm.
um, he said something like, "We should talk about generosity," or some code word for like, "Give me money." And I said, "Oh, I'm not going to charge you." And he was like, "No, no, you were going to pay me." I'm like, "That's not going to happen, my friend.
Like, no, I didn't sign up for that. No, no, no. Yeah.
I'm not
So
going to charge you."
being in a college town, I'm sure that happens to you a lot. So do you feel like
Yeah.
you go on dates with guys who are younger pretty often? What do you think about that?
I typically go for guys closer to my age
Hmm.
because I think we have more in common. But, in the past year or so, a couple of years, I've dated a few guys who are in their 30s, which is scary to say, still 25 years younger than me if they're 30.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that seems like there's a big age gap there,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they're well into their adult years. They're grounded. They typically have a career as opposed to working at Starbucks as a barista or something.
Hmm.
And that seems to work well. Like they're sort of young enough to be fun and exciting and but old enough to be somewhat grounded. And they tend not to need a daddy. They tend
Hmm.
not to be in that former camp. But there's also even at that age gap, there's just some differences,
Hmm.
in like where I'm at in my life. I'm just in a different place. So I I really enjoy their company, and there have been those blocks that make it a little difficult. And I could see being involved long term with somebody who's in their 30s,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed
So
to just like a friend with benefits.
yeah. So it's definitely a little closer to your age, but still a little bit younger. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what is the French? There's a French thing that you take the older person, you divide their age in half, and add 7.
I've never heard that
So
before, Darren.
yeah, it's like the perfect age gap according to the French, and Yeah, I'm not going to argue with the French. So
Now, does that apply for heterosexual people or for queer men? Or
I think it was originally for heterosexuals, but I mean, for gay men, maybe it's, half your age minus 7.
I love it, love it. Okay, so I want to do a quick little game with you where I get some really good responses from you to figure out if this person is going to be your partner or just somebody you're sharing your Hulu login password with. Okay, like is this someone you're going to date, or is this someone you're just like, here, you can have my info, log in. And I want the
Okay.
people who are watching to, you all can chime in also in the comment section and see what you think. Okay. All
Okay.
right. We're going to see if this guy is going to be your boyfriend or if he's going to be your boy toy. Okay.
Boyfriend or boy toy?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think younger men most misunderstand about dating a guy who's older? Like, what do you think they most misunderstand about dating a guy who's older?
I think this is a broad generalization. I think that the idea of stability,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it's an illusion most of
Mm-hmm.
the time. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of older gay men, myself included, are really
Mm-hmm.
um, suffering from serious arrested development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, in many cases, like the last guy I dated, um, seriously dated, was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and in many ways, he had his shit together far more than I did. He was far
Mm-hmm.
more stable. So
Okay.
I think I mean that's a broad generalization, but I think when people are looking for that stability that comes with an older guy,
Mhm.
I'd look a little deeper before you
Okay.
make that assumption.
So if the guy was, looking for you to be more stable, would you make him your boyfriend or boy toy?
You're breaking up there. I didn't hear that.
I was saying if a guy expected you to be a little bit more stable, would you make him your boy toy or would you make him your boyfriend?
Um, if somebody, I, I think if somebody is approaching me looking for stability, then they would be boy toy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
I missed some of the question, but that would be yeah. I think I'm looking for an equal when it
Yeah.
comes to dating and a partner. Somebody that we're all lifting each other up at different times, but
Okay.
not someone to take care of or in either direction. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Next question. Do you feel like you're being pursued or targeted by younger guys?
Yes. Shockingly, shockingly.
Why? Why?
I always say on Father's Day, I want to send a Father's Day card to all the absent fathers out there because all
Woo!
these hot young guys have daddy issues now. Um, no, I think there's a lot of us as gay men, even when our fathers did their best to
Mhm,
be um, supportive,
mhm,
sometimes I think they can feel like that disconnect
mhm, mhm,
because we don't, the traditional let's go throw a ball around the backyard or whatever
mhm,
might not have clicked for us. And so I think a lot of us have at the very least low grade daddy issues, and many of us have deeply conflicted relationships with our fathers if they were there at all.
mhm.
And I think that manifests in all dating in some form is seeking to meet those unmet needs from childhood.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think that's coming from. I was surprised at how prevalent it was and how much of that and, when I grew a beard,
Mhm,
I really turned the daddy meter up a lot, and
mhm.
I thought, no one's gonna date the old guy with a kid.
But you'd be surprised.
But
Yeah.
not true, not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So if you feel like the guys are definitely pursuing you because you're older, would you make the guy your boyfriend or would you make him a boy toy for that reason?
No, boy toy, boy
Boy
toy.
toy. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
question. If a guy is definitely not emotionally connected, wants sex, wants a good time, would you make him your boy toy or would you make him your boyfriend?
Boy toy.
That boy toy.
I always tell people intimacy is my kink.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like all the other kinks are fine, but
Mhm.
for me, the best sex is tethered to and connected to intimacies, and that is, of course, connected to your emotional availability and your emotional openness. So you can be really, really hot,
Mhm.
and if we can't connect on a heart level, um, I'm not saying I'd kick you out of bed. I'm just saying I probably wouldn't invite you back.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So for fun, but that's it. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So it sounds like you know how to make a you can differentiate if you want to make a guy your boyfriend or just a boy toy. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And increasingly, I'm the boy toy thing is less and less attractive to me.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I would say no,
Mhm, mhm,
but I'm
mhm.
far more interested in connecting
Okay.
with the limited time I have in my life. I want it to be really awesome, meaningful, connected.
Okay, I like that. Listen,
Yeah.
well, thanks for doing the little rapid questions. I want to do a
Good
different
questions.
yeah, I think in my experience as being a dating coach, I um, hear a lot of guys who are older, and we talk about why they may attract younger guys or why they gravitate more towards younger guys. And they have to kind of figure out, is this just going to be a boy toy or is this going to be someone that actually can be a boyfriend, a spouse, and a husband? And
Yeah.
that can be challenging sometimes because of the energy, the sex, the fantasy, the connection, all that can make things a little challenging.
Yeah. I really feel like I mean, uh, people my age and possibly your age or younger than me, but
Mhm.
you're old enough to remember like the AIDS crisis. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Mhm,
and how horrific that was, and
mhm,
it really did arrest everything, our
mhm, mhm,
development,
mhm,
and we were later coming out because we needed to get away from our
mhm,
small towns or wherever we grew up so that we could feel safe coming out. So we were in our 20s, early 20s, sometimes later.
mhm,
And so I think a lot of us older gay
mhm,
men
mhm,
are of a generation where we have the Peter Pan syndrome, where we're trying
mm,
to
mhm.
relive the things that we missed out on, that we
Yeah.
should have had when we were,
Mhm,
15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25. And so spending time with younger guys can sort of fill that need. I get to feel young again. I get
mhm,
to participate in these things that I missed out on
mhm.
because I was worried that sex was going to kill me
Yeah.
and going to funerals of
Mhm,
friends that had passed.
mhm,
And I think there can sort of be a balancing thing. Like I think a lot of younger guys, they see in us a wisdom that comes with having lived through all of that, of
mhm,
really forging a path, and those who came before us even, of forging a path where it was safe to come out and our
mhm,
families were more accepting, or at least we knew somebody that would accept us, even if it wasn't our whole family.
mhm,
So I do see the beauty of
mhm,
us coming together generationally
mhm.
and lifting each other up.
Yeah, yeah. I think as long as it's in a way where both are being supported, um, and that it's equitable, I think it's definitely healthy.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I do want to, if you will indulge me, I want to do a little exercise with you that I sometimes do with some of my dating coaching clients to kind of get to the root and uncover like some of the reasons why they might want to date a little bit younger. Okay,
Okay. I love
perfect.
it. I'm
Okay.
scared, but I love
Oh God, it won't break you. I promise you. I promise
it.
you. Yes. So tell me, I just want you to free think and just respond to the question. Okay. Um,
Sure.
Tell me, why do you feel like you are gravitated towards younger men?
Physical beauty.
Mhm,
I mean, just there's something about youth and that energy that is very attractive. And
okay.
I think also the fresh ideas, even like with my son, he's
Mhm,
constantly like correcting me on pronouns when I use he or she instead of they or them.
mhm,
And
mhm.
he's like, Dad, it's they, them. And I'm like, sorry, I'm old. You know, it's sort of, it keeps me, those fresh ideas and
Mhm,
those new attitudes and a lot of the stuff that we received in the 70s, 80s, 90s that they have sort of clean hands or cleaner
mhm,
than ours anyway.
mhm,
And
mhm.
it helps me to see myself in a better light.
Okay. So definitely your the fresh ideas, you get to learn more, you like the beauty, the youth, all of that. Okay. Um, how does that make you feel about yourself in those experiences?
I don't feel conflicted about it.
Mhm,
I think that I try to enter any relationship,
mhm,
friendship or dating or
mhm,
whatever, with my
mhm,
eyes wide open, like, what need are we both trying to meet here?
mhm, mhm,
That's not a bad thing. Ooh,
mhm.
hold on. Sorry. I thought I
Yep.
had turned off my notifications.
No problem.
That's a total old guy thing to do. Forget to turn off your phone.
We gotta get
Um,
you.
yeah, so I feel like if as long as you go in, as you were saying a minute ago, as long as I enter into any relationship
Mhm, mhm,
openly and
mhm,
honestly about
mhm,
what it is and what we're both trying to get from it, is this just to have fun,
mhm,
to enjoy each other's bodies, or are we moving towards something more significant? Can
mhm,
I count on you to like go to the ER when I'm in a car accident and be
mhm,
there to hold my
mhm,
hand,
mhm,
or vice
mhm.
versa?
Yeah.
Or is it like, you know, who is this calling? You know?
Right.
So as long as we're up above board and honest, I think it's great
Yeah.
and it can be
Oh,
healthy and beautiful.
mhm. So give me two adjectives that might describe how you feel about yourself when you date someone or you experience, learning something new, making it feel fresh, or, the beauty, the youth. Give me like two adjectives that might describe how you feel about yourself.
Um, alive,
Okay. I like that.
um, and desirable.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And then, so
I
alive.
think we all have that programming of like old people are not attractive, they're not
Mm,
sexy. We see
yeah.
it over and over and over again. And so when a younger person actually does find you attractive,
Mhm.
it's sort of like, I still got it.
Amen. They're like, yes, yes. Like, yes. So how does that impact like your self-esteem?
Hmm, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's a nice self-esteem boost,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'd like to think that my self-esteem isn't driven
Mhm,
entirely by that.
mhm, 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 mhm,
Because the older you get,
mhm.
and just like the reality is, some people are just not that into me. They're not
Yeah,
into
yeah.
white guys. They're not into guys with beards. They're not into guys with dad bods or
Mhm,
whatever the reason is. They're just not that into me. And if my whole self-esteem is tied up on you being attracted to me, then my self-esteem is going to take a hit.
mm.
But
Yeah.
it's sort of it's like a B12 shot or something. Gives
Yes.
you a little bounce in your step, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. And then last question, um, how does that boost impact your level of intimacy with the person?
I think it comes back to that initial question, like, why are we doing this?
Mhm, mhm,
If it's just like, if it's my low self-esteem
mhm,
trying to get that boost
mhm, mhm,
and see if I can snag the younger guy, then it
mhm,
doesn't make me feel good about myself.
mhm, mhm,
And I
mhm,
suspect he's not having a very good time either.
mhm,
Maybe in the short run, but
mhm,
afterwards. But if it's a beautiful connection where we share something open and
mhm,
connected, then I think it really has sort of a lasting effect, a
mhm.
positive lasting effect. And I would like to think for both of us.
Yeah, yeah. And I was taking notes as we were talking because I think relationships, long-term relationships, are sustainable um, if you have strong intimacy. And intimacy is not just sex. I want to make sure people understand that intimacy is beyond sex.
Yeah.
It's about your mental, your spiritual connection. And if you have an intimate connection that you all build on learning new things about each other, um, about seeing the beauty, whatever that looks like, because beauty changes over time. I think that's healthy. I feel like if there's the dynamic where it's like, hey, you're teaching me new things and it brings me closer to you. I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Like it's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing.
I agree. I think that some of the least intimate times I've had have been when I've been naked with another person.
Hmm.
And some of the most intimate times I've had is when we've been fully clothed and just really
Hmm.
openly sharing.
Yeah,
And then if you can combine those two, naked with openness, that's
it's
amazing.
fireworks. It's fireworks over
Yeah,
there.
fireworks.
Okay, okay. Well, thanks for doing that exercise. I know it could be sometimes uncomfortable
Oh, it's
because
fun.
it's uncovering like what's really going on.
Yeah. I I can see why you're the dating coach.
I've been doing this for a
um,
little while. A little while.
yeah, you're good at it. Because you really do the questions you're asking really get to the heart of things.
Hmm.
Whereas a lot of us are just like, what's your sign? You're like getting under there and like, what's
Hmm.
your motivation?
Yeah, yeah. Because I think sometimes people look at older younger relationships and they have all these assumptions about the dynamics of their relationship, and you really have no idea like what goes on behind closed doors as far as like the value that they add to each other's lives. I think sometimes people just might say, oh, it's a transactional relationship. He's with him because
Yeah.
he wants a check, or he's with him because he has a nice body. No, there's more to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think if whatever you start with, like let's say I have the Peter Pan syndrome and I'm dating a younger guy who's got the daddy issues. If we go into that consciously,
Mm-hmm.
we can wash each other's dishes, you know? Like
Hmm.
we're both coming with some stuff, but if we have an open conscious relationship where we communicate, it's a beautiful opportunity to heal some of that stuff together
Hmm.
in a way that might be harder if you did it alone. So it's not inherently bad. It can be if we do it unconsciously, but I think uh, connecting with people who are different. I once had an astrologer, and I'm not into astrology, just for the
Mhm,
record,
mhm,
but she said you should date somebody if you think of the zodiac like a clock, and you're
mhm.
at 12. You should date somebody who is at 3 or 9. So
Yeah,
they're basically different than you, but
mhm,
not polar opposite. They're different enough to make you grow and challenge you and teach you new things, but they're not so different that you can't get along and find common ground. I thought that's, that makes sense.
yeah, you want some
The rest of
commonalities.
astrology doesn't, but that does.
You want some commonalities, but no polar opposites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. One other, advice I would give to people who are like considering kind of being in a relationship where there's an age difference is in that dating phase, when you like literally first dates, you should literally be like, hey, what are you looking for? What type of relationship do you want? What makes you drawn to me? Have you typically dated guys in this age range? Like, you have to really find out the motivation, whether you're a younger guy trying to date an older guy or vice versa, so that you don't end up in a situationship where you feel like you're being manipulated or being used. And nobody wants to feel that way.
Yeah. Amen.
You said amen. Yes, yes.
Amen. Didn't you tell me you were going to be a preacher?
Oh, good.
Am I
Oh, my
remembering that
goodness.
correctly?
Yeah. Growing up, everybody in my family, they're all preachers. I did not want to be a preacher. I did not. No, I did not want
You
to.
would have been a good one.
Mm-mm. They would have kicked me out of the
No.
church, Darren. Oh, so listen, last thing before I let you go, I always like to
Sure.
end these episodes with manifestation. Like, what is something that you would like to be to come into existence in your life? So, what is something, just one thing you feel like you are manifesting that you want to occur right now?
Well, I my son is in high school now, and so I'm sort of looking at this. My time being a full-time dad, like caring for him, is coming to an end. So I've gone back to school. I'm working toward my master's in psychology, and
Ah,
I'm really looking, and that's part of my like getting ready for the next phase of life.
mhm, mhm,
Um, but I think just what does the next chapter of my life look like?
mhm,
And I want more travel again, all the things that I couldn't do when I had a baby. And I
mhm,
did travel with him a lot, but it wasn't the same as backpacking
mhm,
around
mhm,
India or something.
mhm.
So it's just sort of manifesting that, and maybe having a travel companion to do it with would be really, really nice.
We will say ashe to that. So I hear that you are trying
Mhm.
to manifest rediscovering who you are and a travel companion. Hmm.
And
Okay.
a travel companion, and yeah, and just enjoying the second half of life.
Yes.
And part of that will be having my master's and
Mhm,
maybe a slight career shift from yoga and coaching
mhm.
to psychotherapy.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay. Well, we want all of those things to come, into fruition for you. Thank you
yeah,
so much for being a guest today.
yeah.
Any last parting words you want to say to folks, or how can people find more information about my Q Mind Body? Yeah.
Well, my website is darrenmaine.com,
Mhm,
and all of my stuff is there. But Q Mind Body is my podcast, is a new podcast I started talking about gay men's wellness and spirituality, um and it's available on YouTube, it's available on Spotify and all the other podcast channels, and I frequently post clips on Instagram and thereabouts. So you can find me anywhere, but my website will sort of is a sort of a good gateway to all the stuff I'm doing.
That is perfect. So all of Darren's information is listed in the description of this video. Just have to click on the link and you'll be able to find out more information about him.
Yeah.
Darren, thank you so much. You've been an awesome guest, and this has been a great
Thank
conversation. And
you.
hopefully, people have learned a lot from this conversation today.
I have a vision.
Mhm.
You're going to become a minister. I'm going to find my soulmate through this podcast, and you're going to officiate the wedding.
Mark the date. Mark the date. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Have a good one, Darren.
You too.
See you. All right, you all. I hope you all had a great time watching, listening, and commenting on this episode. Again, let me know if you all like having these types of conversations and this type of content by either liking the video, commenting, but definitely sharing. Thank you all so much again for watching, and I will see you next time on another episode of Dating Dilemmas.
Mr. So-and-so made it.